Okay, we're going to start the next lesson. Let's go to Sketchbook. And I'm going to look back and see where we left off. I think we were on Texture Essentials. So if you'll click on it, we're just going to try these out. All the Texture Essentials will leave some white marks, and of course it's just leaving it, making it look like there's some texture there. You can tap on this one, we found out. So maybe if you had this in blue, might make some raindrops. So you can just use this for different things. You might use it for some little shadows, maybe like under a tree. That would be great. Okay, we're going to clear this off. I'll try not to tap it with my pen when I watch the video. It's so loud sometimes. Okay, the next one is the Pencil Pal. Pencil Pal is, let me turn that up, is a little different. It gives this cute little pattern here. Okay, now if you'll notice it's going in one particular direction. So you can change this up. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Try back out of this. Okay, if you want to change direction on this, then you click up here, and up where it says Library at the top, look over to the side, it says Settings, click on Settings, and then you have Basic and Advanced, click on Advanced, and then under Advanced you have Pressure, Stamp, Nib, and Randomness. I believe it's Stamp. Yes. Okay, so under Stamp, you have spacing, roundness, and rotation. So what we want to do is we want to rotate it around because it's pointing in one direction. So I'm going to just adjust that a little bit, and I'm going to click off in the gray and then stamp it on there and click back on my pencil and rotate it a little more. Do the next one. There we go. Then rotate it a little more. And rotate it a little more. Okay. So we have rotated this 180 degrees. It was facing the other direction, so now it's facing this direction. When you do a 180, that just means you're doing a turnaround. You're turning it around. A circle has 360 degrees. That means all the way around. I'm so sorry about that. So back to what I was saying. If 360 degrees is turning all the way around. So if you want to turn it halfway around, then that is 180 degrees. So you just kind of adjust it right here. So that's how you get this little creature, whatever, to turn around for you. You may want to make some different things. I think these would make great jellyfish. Kind of looks like a little Pac-Man a little bit. I don't know. All right. Clear those off. And go ahead and scroll all the way down at the bottom and hit Reset. That just puts it back where it was. And click back on Library. And let's go to the next one. The next one is a soft pastel. So let's just practice with it. Okay, so soft pastels are just going to give you a very soft look. And you can actually mix colors if you need to, or if you want to. That's a little purple on top of it, so that kind of makes pink look. So if you want to do like a soft background, the soft pastel would be great. All right, I'm going to delete that. The next is Speckled. Okay, so here's what we did. We're going to go back and pick a paint. Go up in Legacy, and under the pencil under Legacy, there is a paintbrush. Okay, we're going to pick like an evening look or a nighttime look or color. So I'm going to paint all of this and then go back down to Speckled, and I am going to move it up on white, and this actually I have found works really great with my finger. And you can adjust the size. I'm tapping on it, and I'm just trying to create a little bit of snow, a snowy background. And you may want to adjust it, make some small ones. Small ones will make it look like it's has a little depth. Okay, that's good. All right, now we are going to go back up to our paintbrush in Legacy, and we're going to choose a white. Let me try this white. Okay, so we want to add a layer in case we mess up. So I'm going to come all the way over here, click on the plus sign, and that adds a layer down here on top of my background. So as long as that blue square is around that layer, that's what I'm working on. If the blue square happens to be down here, then I'm working on my background. So when you add a layer, put it right there. It's just like putting a clear layer over it. You're going to be working on it. You can remove it if you want, or you may add another layer on top. Make sure that layer is on top, not under it, because if it's under your background, then your background's going to be on top of it. So whatever's on top over here at the side is going to go on top of whatever is under it. Okay, so we are going to just draw a quick little snowman. Let me see if it's too big. It's a little bit too big. All right. Very simple one. And right there. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in on him. And most of the time, here's a problem that I am finding. A lot of students are zooming way out like this and trying to work like this. You need to keep it small right here so that your my brain is not working this morning. Your puck can go all the way around it. You might accidentally hit something over here and lock your screen and not be able to work on it. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we are working, able to work. Let's see. I don't know what has happened over here. Let me back up. All right, I don't know what happened with my layer. There's my layer. Okay, we're going to start over. You can tell this is a Monday morning. All right. Now I'm going to make him big. And I'm going to choose a black. And I'm going to make my brush just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to put dots for his eyes. And that for his mouth. And let's make it a little smaller. And I'm going to choose, gotta have a carrot nose here. So I'm going to have to make this a little smaller. We'll just see. Nope, this is good. And what I did was just kind of make a V shape. Make it as big as you want. And I'm going to add a little bit of detail. So I'm going to, I'm going to blow that up. Make this just a little bit smaller. And go in and just add some lines on my carrot. Okay. And I think you need some buttons. So make this a little bit bigger. You need some big red buttons. And, you know, if you want to add detail to your buttons, you can zoom in and choose like a black. And, oh, too big. That's better. That's even better. Okay, much better. All right, now I'm going to go back and do just a little bit of outlining. Doesn't have to be all solid lines. Just kind of give a little bit of definition to him. All right. And I'm going to outline this carrot. Okay, he needs a hat. Here's my favorite way to do a hat. I do a halo over their head. And come down on the edges. And then do another little halo that just comes down on the forehead. And then I paint it in. It's a little too big. And then I'm going to go to a white. Get my lines really small. And then just give him a little line there and there. Just a little curvy. I'm not liking that. I really think my line is too wide. Sometimes you just have those days when things are just not working like you want them to. I'm just going to hit it there and there and here and here. And I'm just going to stop right there. Okay, he needs some arms. Poor little thing. The easiest way to get a brown, I like to go to orange and then come in toward the black. If you'll watch that color at the top, when it gets to where you want it, just let off of it. And I think this might be too skinny. Okay. I'm going to make these a little smaller. And I think we're good. All right, so I can come over here to the side and I can click on that little eyeball and take him off, and then I can put him back on. So that's kind of what he looks like, and pop him back on there. So if you want to save him, then just you can hit new, always hit new sketch and create, and you can save him or discard him, and he will go to your gallery. And then you're ready to start on your next one. Okay, let's look and see what we have next. We did the speckled right here. So the next one is the rough charcoal, and I always like to click on black. And charcoal, you usually will use it on paper, and you add it on, and then you do a lot of smudging. So that's just kind of to get the paint on the paper. You might even come back up here and click this smudging tool and smudge a little bit. And this is real good at making shadows. If you're just drawing a still life in black and white, this is great to use. Okay. Take all that off. And of course you can choose this in colors. So down to the next one. This one has a dry marker. I like what this leaves. Leaves a great look. Now, here is another reason why I want you to keep your paper small. Because if you start off in the gray and then come on to the paper, it's more even. If you try to start on your paper, then your edge of your paper is going to be light. So where if I start off over here and go off the paper, it keeps it even. This would be great to layer. I might want to come back up here and get paint, and I'll just go ahead and paint it all black. And then go back down to that marker and choose this hot pink here. And when I go over it with this hot pink, that black shines through. So it kind of leaves you just not a solid background. That's a great, great look. If you were doing this with paint, what I would do is paint my black background and let it dry. And then I would paint the hot pink over it and maybe take a cloth. You could take a newspaper and crumble it up really good and then uncrumble it and then lay it on top of it and just press straight down on it, and then just pick it straight up. And what it does, the newspaper will pick up some of that paint and it leaves a pattern kind of like this. Other things you can do, I have taken like an old hairbrush and scratched it with that. You can use a pick, a metal pick, and scratch it, and that just kind of gives it a textured surface. So this is how you can get it just with an iPad. A whole lot easier and less time consuming. All right here, watercolor. Watercolor paint, just remember, it is not always supposed to cover the entire painting. I mean, it doesn't cover your paper. That's kind of the beauty of it. You know, some of them do, but a lot of them you don't have to do the edges. You know, now if somebody is painting on a canvas with me, I want them to go all the way around the edge and paint the edges. Well, you're doing this on watercolor paper. You don't necessarily have to paint all the way to the edges, and that's fine. So anyway, if you'll kind of look here, let's see, add another little color. All right, when you zoom in here, when water dries, it leaves these little lines, and you can just kind of see them here and everywhere. So that's kind of the beauty of watercolor paint. It's just beautiful. And here's some real good ones right here. I'm gonna kind of circle it with my puck. It leaves a lot of lines right there. It's real pretty. Okay. And then we have the conte crayon. Conte crayon is mixed with, it's kind of a waxy substance, and it also has charcoal in it. So, but the beauty of it is that you can use this with water. You can dilute it down a little bit with water where you can't on more waxy surfaces. All right, but I love the look of this. Just the layered. So if you were going to really do like a sandy scene, or even an ocean scene, this is just neat. And you can kind of darken it up, and that adds a little depth to it. And you might even want to go a little lighter, maybe even right on top of that. And got a nice little desert sky going on there. So this just gives a different background. I like it. Okay, and then this is an airbrush. It is a very dusty airbrush. I'm going to put it on, I'll tell you what, I'll put it on this dark. And I'm going over it, but it is so, you have to really go over your paper a lot for it to get on there. So it's not like the other airbrushes where they're more concentrated. This is the dusty airbrush. So if you wanted a very subtle scene, maybe if you wanted to add white and kind of snowy, this would have been good to put on the snowman picture just to lighten the background up, or even down low. That would be good for that. It's not my most favorite, but it's kind of grown on me a little bit as I worked with it. And then we've got a square eraser. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cover this real quick. Okay, so if we'll go back to this square eraser, you can just erase with it. That looks like chocolate. I love that color. Okay, now if you tap it, you can make squares. So you're erasing squares. So this looks really neat. Kind of looks like ice cubes. So that is where we are going to stop today. I meant for this video to go out last week, but I recorded it and then discovered there was no audio, so I'm having to re-record it. So what we'll pick up with is Copic next. So just kind of play around with these. It's important that you get to know all these, because as we're going down this, I'm finding things that I like better. Some things that I'm not wild about. So, kind of picking my favorites so that when I'm making something, I can maneuver quickly and kind of say, oh yeah, that I know right now the paintbrush is going to be one of my favorites. I can just kind of scroll down through here quickly. If I need some speckles, I know, hey, boom, right there's a speckle. So that's why we're taking our time going through these, because once you know them well, then you'll be able to maneuver around while you're making your artwork. All right, so we're going to stop right there. Thank you for persisting with me on this Monday morning.